let's go to the next question from Zach on Instagram. What should junior players focus on when looking to improve to the level of the pros? That one is tricky, I feel like.
Yeah, that's tough.
Very
I don't. There's like so many aspects. It's scheduling. It's obviously fitness. There's so many different things, right? Being professional probably is really important. I think that there's, like I said previously, there's so many players that I can think of from juniors and stuff that were just so good at tennis, right?
Just think
It's kind of crazy. Like,
yeah.
I find myself sometimes being like, I was like such a dork and like a loser, you know, like I was doing like fitness at the USTA, and I was always kind of like, all right, yeah, go do some reps over there, Brandon. Like, you can jump like 8 inches in the air. Like, I was doing like the fitness test, and I was last place in everything. It's like, all right, like throw the med ball. I'm like, throw it like 4 inches, and everyone else is like a freak. And there's so many kids that were so good early that like everyone was like, oh my god, this is like
next
the guy.
big thing. Yeah,
And then all of a sudden I'm like kind of like, why am I the one that's like somehow like doing like decent? You know what I mean? Like somehow did better than them. But it's also cool to see that other players that, like Keegan Smith, I grew up going to Carson with him, and he was also kind of like, we were definitely less, not committed, but we were like having fun. We were like young kids having fun, like we'd like twirl the racket, you know, like probably have like ADD or something like that. You know, we're like twirling the racket when it's like 15 all and it's like 5 p.m. and like we really don't care that much if we win this set. And like the other kids like, you know, doing like the like. He's like toweling off and it's like 50 degrees and he's not even sweating and he's like bouncing the ball 14 times and like they would always get mad at us for like throwing the racket, and like Keegan and I are like the ones that somehow like made it through. I don't know what the reason is, but yeah, if you're a young kid, like I have no clue like what makes
But there's an aspect to that to like not get burnt out so soon.
That's
true.
true.
Like that could be part of it. Like you have so many of these guys who were so good at a young age that when you see them now, they don't look genuinely happy. You know, like they don't look happy because they tried so hard at such a young age. They pushed so hard that it doesn't become fun. Like the process is not fun. You know, so you have to actually enjoy it and like balance that. You know, who you are on the court is not how your life should be off the court. You know, you should separate it and not let that come into your everyday life. But I think there's so many different things like that come into it. Like obviously, like you said, discipline, but you don't want to get burnt out, so you have to balance that. And then like if you're having too much fun, maybe you're not paying attention and actually learning like good technique and good like values and that sort of stuff. So
yeah, it's a tough balance because there's so many kids that, like you said, that were like so focused at a young age and they're so good, and then but now they like hate tennis and they are totally lost in life. And
probably still very good tennis players, but you know, emotionally and mentally just not in the right place to put out good results consistently, I feel like.
Right. And I don't know how to be a tennis parent, because if you're like a tennis parent, you know, 0.001% is like, you know, the top player, and like there's thousands and thousands that like don't get there, but that have this that same almost drive, and they said, all right, like you're gonna do it, and they like were like a million billion% in, and then they just now are like, you know, not nothing, but they don't even play tennis, or they can't. So like the well-roundedness, I think for me was huge. Like there's zero chance that I would have continued playing tennis if I was like put on a path from 6 years old of being like, you are going to be number one in the world. And maybe if I was put on that path, there's like a tiny chance that I would have been a million times better than I am right now. But there's also a good chance that I totally just burned out. And so, yeah, my parents did like an amazing job of making sure that I enjoyed other sports, and it wasn't really about development until I was much older, and it was my own choice. Like not until literally high school I was like, all right, I'm gonna really make this my thing, and I want to do this for a living, and this is like what I'm completely passionate about. Before that, it was like going with my brother. I played high school tennis. It was just like, this is something that's fun. It's with my friends. We're playing like 3-on-3. We're playing butts up, you know, for practice. And we'd play like butts up all day and play from the net to the service line. And we hit people so hard that it was like scary. Like the only thing worse would be like net to net, where you just hit him in the head with a racket.
Only thing worse if you just shoot him straight up.
Exactly. So like we made it fun always, and that's what was great. And I think also that all those kids, you know, the 50 kids at the club that I grew up at, those 50 kids, you know, were not, you know, the next Rafa, but they loved tennis. They loved their time there. We have great friendships from that.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of kids, you know, that are maybe in these academies that they look back at their time from 7 to 14 years old, like, wow, I really just was grinding into, had no fun and no childhood. And those are the best memories of my life were my young childhood. And it was probably because I wasn't like, you know, stuck into the.
So you're saying USC is overrated, huh? Should have gone to UCLA.